So I appreciate the emails that have been going out from LMN the last few weeks about mental health. Probably for over 30 years, I've dealt with anxiety. When my kids were young, I couldn't even hardly go to a school concert. I couldn't sit in that gymnasium. I would have a panic attack. I'd need to get out of there. If you've ever dealt with anxiety and panic, you know the deal. You can't stay where you are. There's nothing physically real about it, but in your mind, it is very, very real. I would have times the days were just ramped up and just going wild. That has kind of moved on a little bit, but anxiety has always been an issue for me. So then fast forward to becoming a pastor. Obviously, we spend a lot of time in front of people. And anxiety is different than just having a fear of speaking. I mean, anxiety is deeply rooted. So I realized here probably a year ago that my anxiety was really getting the best of me, in that I had never led a single worship service in my life that I did not need anti-anxiety medicine before I went out, for fear of having a panic attack in front of a congregation. It was getting to the point where I was needing more and more, and I finally told the doctor, I said, you know, I might need some help. We got this thing through our health insurance that I'm going to try. Because anxiety and mental health issues are not something that we talk about. Especially as men, they are not something that I ever shared with anyone. I mean, I didn't want to look like a weakling or something else like that. Occasionally, maybe if one of our young people were saying, you know, I get so nervous up there talking, I say, well, don't worry, because I do too. But I've made that decision. I finally decided I needed to be bold and address this. So I started a program, cognitive behavioral therapy, where it essentially is walking through why you're thinking what you're thinking. So for my case, why would I worry about what would be the worst thing about having a panic attack in front of my congregation? What would be the worst thing? My fear was that they would reject me. What would they normally do? They would care for me. Exactly. They would not be saying, oh, you're weak. They'd be saying, oh, can we help? Is there something going on? Now, the process normally goes where you do little things at a time. So we have 2 worship services a week, one on Wednesday evening, one on Sunday morning. Our Sunday morning is the larger one. Our Wednesday evening is a more casual group. So I said, okay, through the help of my coach, decided, okay, we're going to step out. We're going to do Wednesday night without taking anything beforehand. And that was a great struggle. But we made it. It took me probably another couple of months before I finally got enough nerve to do a Sunday morning, because the normal process is like if you have panic attacks when you're standing in a line at a grocery store, for example, you stand in a line, you force yourself to do it, but you can always slip out because nobody's going to notice. If you're up there on Sunday morning, it's not like I'm going to say, hold on here, I have a panic attack, I'm not able to speak, I'm not able to breathe, I'm just going to go off and sit out in the congregation. So that doesn't work too well. But having a few people, a handful of people that knew what was going on, and that were there, that if I made some kind of motion, they would come up and take my spot and be able to speak and get me through those pieces. It took for me being able to be vulnerable to those people to say, will you have my back if I have this issue? Now, luckily now I've been able to be probably 6 months without having to take anything before worship. Maybe a funeral might be a little bit, I mean, it's still a work in progress. And it's always a work in progress. It was a success story, and actually the way Lon found out about it was on Good Morning America. So they came out and did a piece on the program and on me. So the thing behind that is to be bold. God's got your back.
Amen.
Don't be afraid and don't be ashamed to ask other guys to help you.
Good.
It's not a weakness, it's a strength to ask.
Amen.